can go. All right, folks, we are going to work on the final exercise that sits at the end of the instances, properties, and methods playground. And actually, it's instances, methods, and properties in that order. So it's on the very, very last page of that playground on page 17, which is what you're seeing up on my screen right now. And this is really kind of to reinforce all the skills that we learned in that playground. So if you guys were looking for the refresher, here it is, right? So like when we're like a week or so removed from the content, it becomes very easy to forget like what you were working on and what it all means. So this will be good reinforcement as we move into the next little segment. All right, let's read what it says. And it says, what does it really mean for an instance to have, or an instance value to have its own identity? So here's the exercise. Create a variable for my plans initialized to a string describing your evening plans. And I haven't figured that out yet, but I think it looks something like this. Teaching, teaching, teaching. Right, that's my plan for tonight. And then create a second variable for friends' plans, but initialize it to my plans. So in other words, your friends' plans are my plans too, right? They're going to do the same thing. Is because your friend takes less initiative than you at planning, right? So some people are like that. Below the declaration of friends plans, update my plans by using the addition operator to add one more activity to what it is. So in other words, this will kind of be sort of like a list, right? And check the values of my plans and friends plans. Are they the same or different? Okay, this should be kind of interesting. So it really kind of shows you a couple of different things. So first, let's go ahead and make plans for ourselves. Now, these are not my actual plans, by the way. I mean, I could embellish it a little bit, but make dinner, play with the puppy, help the kids do homework. Not exactly my plans, but this is what the author had, so I'm going with it. All right, so I'll give you guys a second to type that all in. Next, they said very specifically, I should also create another variable and call it friend plans. That's a singular friend, by the way. And what we're going to set that to is whatever my plans are, because once again, they don't make plans. So we're just, their plans are my plans, right? Now here comes the alteration. So the instructions say that we should use the plus operator to add one more activity. And really what they mean is they want us to do that whole plus equals thing. So I'm going to take my plans, my current ones, and I'm going to plus equals to it. So in other words, I'm going to concatenate to it. And watch how I do this. I'm going to start with a comma and a space, right? So that it builds onto the string. And then I'm going to say, do some late night program. And I don't know if you guys get into that mode where you code at night. Sometimes I do that, partially because it's a great time to think and reflect, and there's usually not a lot of noise and distractions. You know, phones ringing, right?
Most of the time where I'm doing my coding assignments is at night.
You know, and when I used to do a lot of freelance stuff, that was always my sweet spot for getting stuff done too. So now we're going to print my plans, and notice that my plans include late night programming. If I print my friends' plans, will that include late night programming?
No.
Right. And why?
Because it's not added into my plans.
Exactly. Right. So your friend might hang with you to do the other stuff, but you start coding, they're gone.
Yeah.
As most normal people would do, right? They see code and they're like, yeah, no thanks. Right. And this is why we coders get paid well, right? Is because we're willing to do the work that others are not, and we had the fortitude to stick it through. All right. Okay, let's look at this next little exercise here. It says create a function, add dance, that takes a string appends a phrase about dancing like, and then we dance, or but no dancing, or whatever, and then returns a new string. Call the add dance function by passing in my plans and assign the result to friend plans. So in other words, we're going to make our friends dance even when they don't want to. That's, I think, kind of the takeaway here. All right, so let's see if we can kind of build this piece by piece. First, it did say create a function, and they told us what to call it. So let's call it exactly that, add dance. We do have to put in parentheses after it. And then we also have to think about what are we feeding in here? And notice it says appends a phrase about dancing and returns the new string. Call the add dance function by passing in my plans, which is a string, right? So why don't we call what we're passing in the phrase, you know, not coming up with that name, that's the instructors or the teacher's version's solution name that they already had in there, and that will be a string. So the plans that we have, we're just passing those in as a phrase. That is a string. What will this return? This will also return a string. So we're declaring the return type here. And then we have to basically structure it. This is actually pretty simple. So we're just going to return, gotta spell it right though. They're going to return string. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the phrase that we're feeding in, just let that string interpolate. Let's put a comma after it. And then we dance. So if you guys catch the funniness of this, right? There's your plan, and then we dance. That's going to be the output. So if you look at the output on this when we're all done, you will see that. Now, of course, if you want to see the output, this is just the definition of the function. Nothing will display here, of course. So we have to add a line underneath to call the function. So I'm going to go down a couple lines here, and I'm going to say my friend's plans will equal a call to add dance with what phrase? Well, I'm going to feed in my plans because my friend's plans are my plans with a little bit of augmentation, I guess. And now you should see the output in the sidebar. Of course, you could also print it. And I'm going to do that just because I think that's handy to see it in the console, a little bit nicer looking output. And we're going to print our friend's plans, which is make dinner, play with the puppy, help the kids with homework, do some late night programming, and then we dance. Right. And you could change the message. It doesn't have to be and then we dance. Maybe for some of you it would be, and then I have an adult beverage. Some of you, it might be you're having the adult beverage the whole time. Who knows, right? Dancing's a little bit funnier, I suppose. All right, let's try this next one. This is more practice with this concept now. The exercise says, how do you expect friends' plans to change? How do you expect my plans to change? Print both instances to find out. And so, in other words, they just did what we normally would do, right? And so we did print our friends' plans already. So I guess this really could have been put down here, right? And maybe we also print out my plans just to be clear. Yep, I'm gonna let it auto fix that. You can see the difference. Now what the author of this stuff added into his, so this is what the author's looks like. And I'm not judging, but I'm just showing you what the solution was formally from Apple, right?
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. And I would call that optional. I think we already did the work up above. This is just outputting it so we can see it. And then that line there that I just pasted in, this is the author's take on it. All right. So this, folks, is the solution for this particular playground. I'll get it all into view for you. like for the screenshotters, right? So the screenshot people are like, click, okay, got it, thanks. Right.
Got it.
These are the solutions. What I'm really hoping as we do this, you know, in the process of me kind of helping you complete the homework is that you see the correct way to do it, but you also hear the little tidbits I'm talking about and really reinforcing the concepts and hopefully making them stronger. All right, so this video will end here. I'm gonna stop the recording and I'll publish this separately.